Welcome, everybody, to a sneak peek at my book, The 90-Minute Music Theory Crash Course by Sunil Munger. That's me. You're actually hearing my voice. So, what is this book all about? When I taught guitar lessons, I needed to, I felt an obligation to teach music theory to students so they would understand, basics and how music generally works. I kind of just developed this system as I went along, and I found that it really made a lot of sense. I suppose you could say it's kind of how I interpreted learning things, and it just started to make sense to me and how I went about memorizing things. I just kind of created this course as I went along in my own head, and then I started actually using it on students as well. Page 9. This is what I call the beginning of the Sunil graph. Let's start here. Turn your paper sideways, landscape orientation, and draw numbers 1 through 7 as you see above. These are the scale degrees. Go ahead and write scale degree above the numbers as well. Page 10. Next, write one more column and above it write chord type. Then fill in the Roman numerals you see above. You'll see they go 1 through 7. Note that chords 1, 4, and 5 are major, and chords 2, 3, and 6 are minor. Chord 7 is diminished. Notice also that the Roman numerals fall on the major chords, and the minor and diminished chords get the lowercase Roman numerals. Go ahead and also write in on each of the chord types, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, just like you see above. Page 11, very easy. Just write one more column right next to chord type, as you can see in the red above you. Type in 0 sharps, 0 flats, and then in the slot below, write the letter C. And so C will correspond with scale degree 1 and major chord 1. Next, you're just going to fill in the letters as shown above. C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And notice they each line up in each row. So this tells you then the notes of a C major scale are C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. You can also infer from this that in the key of C major, that the number 1 chord is C major, the 2 chord is D minor, the 3 chord is E minor, the 4 chord is F major, the 5 chord is G major, the 6 chord is A minor, and the 7 chord is B diminished. Page 13. The key of C has no sharps and no flats. On a piano, it's all the white keys, no black keys. This makes it the easiest key to immediately learn. This completes the key of C major. And as you can see, there's a piano diagram at the bottom. And you just play those white keys. You are playing the key of C. Page 14. I kind of just talked about all this stuff a moment ago, but I'll kind of review it again here briefly. So in the key of C major, the scale is made up of the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Every key signature has 7 fundamental chords. Simply take the letter names of the scale degree you see above and match it with the chord type to the left. That will end up giving you the 1 chord is C major, the 2 chord is D minor, the 3 chord is E minor, the 4 chord is F major, the 5 chord is G major, the 6 chord is A minor, and the 7 chord is B diminished. So that's pretty easy. That is the key of C. Those are the 7 primary fundamental chords within that key signature. Page 15. For now, just accept that C is the key with 0 sharps and 0 flats. Be open to new information as it comes. Things will click soon enough. Once you finish the key of 3 sharps, around page 35, the logical patterns will start to become clear. You are closer than you think. The chapter called Make It Make Sense, later in this book, goes into the reasoning behind all this in more detail. You can read it now if you're curious, or keep going and circle back later. In this video, we will not be covering that chapter. Up next is a quick explanation of how a major scale is built. You don't need to memorize it before moving on. You will be revisiting and reinforcing this again later. Page 16. Something I'll explain later in the book, but not on this page, as you'll see. is about whole steps and half steps. They get covered in further detail later, but to make this video make more sense for what it is, I'll explain now. On a guitar, if you play any note on any string and you go to the right 2 frets or to the left 2 frets, that is what's called a whole step. It's 2 pitches away from any particular note. A half step is when you go 1 fret to the right or 1 fret to the left on the same string. So we've got whole steps and half steps. Think of a scale as a group of notes that create a particular sound or feel collectively. A major scale is very important in music. It's the foundation of almost everything. So let's go ahead and talk about the C major scale in this case. In a C major scale, the C is the 1. It is the starting point. If you go up a whole step, you are now on a D note, known as the 2nd. If you go up another whole step, you are on an E note, which is known as the 3rd. Go up a half step, and you have an F, which is the 4th. Go up another whole step, and you are on G, the 5th. Go up another whole step, and you are on A, which is the 6th. Go up another whole step, and you have a B, which is the 7th. You have actually just completed a C major scale. If you go up one more half step, you will find that, in a sense, you've gone all the way around the world and come back to where you started. You will again be on a C note. Again, this will all come back later in the book. I wanted to briefly cover that to help the stuff that we're doing right now, the key signatures, flow perhaps a little better. Okay, we are now on page 17. So it is time for us to work on the next key. We just finished the key of C. So, time for us to work on the key of 1 sharp. On your paper, write 1 sharp up as you see above, the circled 1 sharp on the paper in red. Add that to your page. So the key of no sharps, no flats was the key of C, and we are now on the key of 1 sharp. How do we know what key this is? It's going to have a letter name. The answer is very easy. Just look back at the previous key, which was the key of C, and look at what the number 5 is. In this case, it is, see the circled letter there? It is G. Page 19, the answer is G. This gives us rule number 1. To find the next key signature, just look at the 5 of the previous key. So, again, we looked at the 5 of the key of C, and that was G. And as you can see the red arrow pointing upwards, that becomes the new 1 of the next key signature. So, in the key of G, G is the number 1. That also means a G major chord is the 1 chord. Now, let's just go ahead and fill in the rest of the letter names. So after G comes A, then B, C, D, E, and F. In Western music, that's all there is. There is no H, I, J, or K. So you can see the diagram above. I've circled all the new notes for you to write in. So you should have G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Page 21. Rule number 2, the new sharp always arrives on the 7. So we are in the key of 1 sharp, and if you look at the previous page, we have no sharps written in yet, do we? So if the new sharp arrives on the 7, what is the 7 here? It is F. So F becomes F sharp. As you can see, I've circled that above. So that is because of math, is ultimately why. Major scales, again, follow the pattern whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So if we did not have an F sharp there, it would not be that final whole step. From E to F sharp, as you can see, from 6 to 7, that is a whole step. If it was only E to F, that would be a half step. That would not work out mathematically. So this makes the notes of a G major scale G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. This completes the key of G. Page 23. So it is now time for the key of 2 sharps. Draw a 2 sharps above, just like you see in the picture. And we need to now find out, what is this key signature called? How do we do that? Very simple. Rule number 1. To find the next key signature, just look at the 5 of the previous key. So that previous key being the key of G, just count down 5. G, A, B, C. What's the answer? Coming up. Page 24, the answer is D, because G, A, B, C, D. You are counting down 5. Page 25. Now you're going to start feeling some of the flow of the patterns. This will start to feel familiar now. So, just as you've done before, just fill in the letter names that you see there that I've circled in red. We already had D, so fill out E, F, G, A, B, and C. And you will have all those letters, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Page 26. Remember rule number 2. The new sharp always arrives on the 7. So, just count down. What is the 7? Just look at there. You'll see it right in front of you. The answer is C, so that needs to be C sharp. Remember, this is the key of 2 sharps. So one of the sharps is C sharp. But we're missing a sharp. More on that next page. Page 27. The key of D major is almost complete. But we only have 1 sharp so far, don't we? We only have that C sharp. How do we find out what the second sharp is? Well, the answer is rule number 3. Once a sharp, always a sharp. This means look at the previous key, the key of G, which only had 1 sharp, which of course arrived on the 7, because that's where new sharps arrive. So that would have been an F sharp note. Just slide it over, and in the key of D, your F will now be F sharp. So that gives you 2 sharps in the key of D, F sharp and C sharp. Page 28. The key of D major is complete. You can see the letter names right there. Congratulations. Page 29. Believe it or not, you actually know everything you need to complete the rest of all these sharp keys. And they go up to 7, by the way. So there's, the key of 0 sharp, 0 flats, which is C. And then there's 7 more keys. So we are now on the key of 3 sharps. So let's just use what you already know. To find out what this key is, what do? We just look at the 5 of the previous key, which is rule number 1, of course, isn't it? So take a look at that. Couldn't be any more obvious. I've got an arrow drawn right at it. I'll give you the answer in a few seconds. Page 30, and time is up. What is that answer? The answer is A. I'm pretty sure you already knew that. Good job. Moving right along. All right. Page 31. Now, we need to fill in the rest of the letters, just like we've done on the other keys. So, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Do that like above, like the circled letters you see, and you are done with this page. Page 32 time. Let's apply rule number 2. So, what is the new sharp going to be? Well, rule 2 says the new sharp always arrives on the 7. What is that 7? You can see it right there. I know you can. Answer coming up in a few seconds. All right, time's up. The answer is G sharp. So, in the key of A major, the new sharp is G sharp. So that gives us 1 sharp so far. Before we flip over to page 34, ask yourself, we've got 1 sharp, but we need 3 altogether. What do we do? All right, you can flip over if you like. Or you could actually start to figure it out now. I'll give you a second. All right, page 34, pause it if you need more time. Okay, so we've got 1 sharp so far in this key of A, that G sharp. We need 2 more. How do we do it? Very easy. Apply rule number 3. We need to make sure that the sharps from the previous keys are applied here as well. So all you have to do is look at the previous key, and you'll see that there's F sharp and C sharp. Just slide those over. And now you have, in the key of A, you have A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and G sharp. These are the notes of the A major scale. That completes the key of A major. I hope you're starting to see a pattern. I wasn't going to do this here, but I want you to tell me, what do you think the next key is? Obviously, it's going to be the key of 4 sharps. So what do? You look at rule number 1, and what could that answer be? I'll wait a few seconds and then let you tell me. All right, time is up. The answer to what is the key of 4 sharps? The answer is E, E major. All right, that is a small section of my book I've made, which is called the 90-Minute Music Theory Crash Course. I hope this was helpful to you. And please like and subscribe this video if it was. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might leave in the comments. If you're interested in getting this book, you can see the link right here. It is available on Amazon right now. And it will be. When I say right now, I don't mean that it's going to stop being. It will also be available in other places soon. I actually had to remove those other places because Amazon doesn't like it when you sell it in other platforms for the first 90 days. So you might even be watching this video well after those 90 days were up. Today is November 23rd, 2025. The book is available as an ebook, and you have to flip it sideways because all the pages that you just saw, I could not fit that in a non-horizontal view. I'm not that clever yet. But we'll see. Maybe one day I will be. All right, I'm signing out here, so thank you. Goodbye.